Boris Cherny, the creator and head of Claude Code at Anthropic, just shared his personal workflow for getting the most out of Opus 4.7. These aren't generic tips. These are the exact features and techniques used by the person who built the tool. 6 tips that he says can 2 to 3x your output. Today, I'm breaking down each one in detail so you can apply them immediately. Tip number 1, Auto Mode. This is the biggest quality of life improvement in Opus 4.7. In the past, if Claude needed to run a bash command, create a file, or use an MCP tool, it would stop and ask for permission every single time. For long running tasks like deep research, code refactoring, or building complex features, this meant you had to sit there babysitting, clicking approve over and over. The alternative was the dangerous skip permissions flag, which bypassed all safety checks. Auto mode is the fix. When you turn it on, permission prompts get routed to a model based classifier. This classifier decides whether the command is safe to run. If it's safe, it gets auto approved. If it's potentially dangerous, like deleting files or running destructive commands, it still asks you. This is huge for 2 reasons. First, you can fire up Claude on a complex task and actually walk away. Come back, and the work is done. Second, and Boris emphasizes this, you can run multiple Claudes in parallel. Start one Claude on a refactor, Shift+Tab to enter auto mode, then open another terminal and start a second Claude on a different task, both cooking simultaneously. Auto mode is available for Macs, Teams, and enterprise users. Shift+Tab to activate in the CLI, or choose it from the dropdown in desktop or VS Code. Tip number 2, the slash fewer permission prompt skill. Even if you don't use auto mode, this one saves you hours. Run slash fewer permission prompts and it scans through your entire session history. It finds every bash command and MCP tool call that was safe but triggered a permission prompt. Then it generates a recommended list of commands to add to your permissions allow list. One command. Your entire permission setup is cleaned up. No more clicking approve on Git status for the 100th time. This is especially useful if you've been using Claude Code for a while and have accumulated a lot of common workflows that shouldn't need approval. Tip number 3, recaps. This was shipped specifically to prep for Opus 4.7 because the model now runs for much longer on complex tasks. Recaps are short summaries that tell you what an agent did and what's next. Picture this. You fire up Claude on a big task, enter auto mode, and go grab lunch. You come back 30 minutes later. In the old world, you'd have to scroll through hundreds of lines of tool calls and edits, trying to figure out where things stand. With recaps, Claude gives you a clean summary. Here's what I did. Here's where I am. Here's what's next. This is especially powerful when you're running multiple Claudes in parallel. You can quickly context switch between sessions without losing track of anything. Tip number 4, focus mode. Boris says he loves this one. Slash focus hides all the intermediate work. Tool calls, file reads, edits, bash commands, and just shows you the final result. Think about that. No more watching Claude read 20 files, edit 5 of them, run tests, fix an error, and rerun. You just see the final output. Boris says the model has reached a point where he generally trusts it to run the right commands and make the right edits. He just looks at the result. This is a mindset shift. You go from watching every step to trusting the agent and reviewing the outcome. Slash focus to toggle on and off. Tip number 5, configuring your effort level. Opus 4.7 uses adaptive thinking instead of fixed thinking budgets. This means you tune how hard Claude thinks by setting an effort level. Lower effort gives faster responses and uses fewer tokens. Great for simple questions or quick edits. Higher effort gives the most intelligence and capability. What you want for hard debugging, architectural decisions, or complex reasoning. Boris personally uses xhigh effort for most tasks. That's one level above high. For the hardest tasks, he bumps up to max. One important detail: max effort only applies to your current session. Other effort levels like xhigh are sticky and persist to your next session. Slash effort to set your level. Tip number 6. And Boris calls this the biggest one. Give Claude a way to verify its own work. He says this has always been a way to 2 to 3x what you get out of Claude. And with 4.7, it's more important than ever because the model runs for longer and more autonomously. Verification looks different depending on what you're building. For backend work, make sure Claude knows how to start up your server or service to test it end to end. For front end work, use the Claude Chromium extension to give Claude direct browser control. It can click, scroll, fill forms, and verify the UI looks right. For desktop apps, use computer use. The key insight is that without verification, Claude might build something that looks right in the code but doesn't actually work. With verification, Claude tests its own output and fixes issues before you even see them. Here's how Boris actually uses verification in practice. He created a custom skill called /go. Most of his prompts now end with Claude do blah blah /go. When Claude hits the /go skill, it does three things automatically. 1. It tests itself end to end using bash, browser, or computer use depending on the project. 2. It runs the simplify skill to clean up the code. 3. It puts up a pull request. All of this happens without Boris touching anything. He fires the prompt, walks away, and comes back to a tested, simplified, PR-ready result. This is the workflow that 2 to 3x's output. You're not just delegating the coding, you're delegating the testing, the cleanup, and the PR creation. The entire development loop. Boris closes with something important. Opus 4.7 is a significant step up. But it only feels like a significant step up if you adjust your workflow. With old workflows, manually approving every command, watching every step, only running one Claude at a time, it feels like a nice improvement. But once you activate auto mode, run parallel Claudes, use focus mode, set xhigh effort, and give Claude verification tools, it feels like a completely different product. The model is ready to be more agentic. The question is whether your workflow lets it be. 6 tips from the person who built Claude Code. Auto mode. Fewer permission prompts. Recaps. Focus mode. Effort levels. And verification with /go. These aren't nice to haves. This is how the creator of the tool uses it. Link to the full post in the description. Subscribe for more Claude Code breakdowns. See you in the next one.